How does Lectric Limited make your spark plug wire sets? Lectric Limited has been making factory original spark plug wires like these for over 20 years. Our spark plug wires are manufactured exactly as they were originally, 30 to 50 years ago. Our attention to detail focuses on every component of the spark plug wire: wire color type, wire insulation type and diameter, wire color, wire length, wire scripting, date coding, terminals, terminal crimp specifications, boot type, boot color, and optional radio noise suppression braiding. As with all our reproduction wiring products, this is where it all starts, the original factory blueprint. A sample is shown here. This blueprint contains all of the data we need to make factory original spark plug wires. To ensure that our wire meets the original manufacturer's specifications, we purchase our spark plug wire directly from the original manufacturer. The wire we purchase is shipped on these huge 10,000-foot reels. When the wire arrives at our facility, it is unloaded from the truck with a forklift and positioned on this custom reel carrier and dispenser. In regards to wire scripting, the script on the wire varied from year to year and make and model. In this particular wire, Packard was the original manufacturer of the wire. TV and R stood for television and radio suppression. What this meant was that the wire would suppress or not induce ignition noise into nearby television or radios. Also of special importance to restorers is the date code of their wire. In this case, 3Q69 meant that the wire itself was manufactured in the third quarter of 1969. What we found from looking at original cars was that the date code of the wire usually ranged from 2 to 4 months before the build date of the vehicle. As you can see, we stock a large variety of scripted wire, so that our spark plug wires are either in stock or turnaround time is at a minimal. The process we use to script wire will not be shown in this particular video, but entails using a scripting wheel with special ink of the original color. Ink colors could have been white, black, yellow, etc. The color of the wire's insulation varies. The wire color we use to manufacture our spark plug wires is exactly as original, whether it be black, gray, or the maroon color used on some rare high-performance cars. Here are some examples of the categories in which we organize and store our wire. After a work order is issued to make a specific spark plug wire set, the next step is to cut the wire. To make the cutting process easier and more accurate, a spool of wire is affixed to a wire pre-feed machine, as shown here. A pre-feed machine will self-adjust the tension on the wire as it's fed into the cutting machine. It will do so by either slowing down or speeding up the rate at which the wire feeds. Constant and consistent tension will result in more accurate cut lengths. This is the cutting machine we use primarily for spark plug wires. Its digital input allows for very precise cut lengths and strip lengths. We can cut each wire individually if we are making only one set, or we can program the cutting machine to cut batches of wire if we are making several of the same sets. This machine will not only cut the wire, but will also strip off the insulation to the proper length and depth of cut. Precision is critical when cutting the strip lengths. If the cut is not deep enough, the slug will not pull off. If the cut is too deep, even by only a millimeter or so, the inner conductor of the wire will be scraped or nicked and can reduce the longevity of the wire. Here you can see the wire cutting process from another angle. You can see the cutting blades completely closing to cut the wire, and then only partially closing to cut the strip length. Then the strip is gently pulled from the wire and falls into the trough below. Our reproduction spark plug wires are manufactured using exact wire lengths, as specified for use on the assembly line. Keep in mind the spark plug wires were manufactured to a minimal length, only long enough to reach from the proper location in the distributor cap via the manufacturer's designated routing to the corresponding cylinder spark plug. Here is the wire pre-feed again at work. While the cutting machine is doing its job, the pre-feed takes up the slack. The idler pulley on the bottom of the machine is connected to a rheostat and regulates the speed of the feed motor. Slack in the wire causes the idler pulley to lower, which slows down the feed speed. As the pulley rises, so does the speed. Here is a close-up of the cut wires. They are now ready for the next step, the terminating process. These are only a handful of the terminating presses we use to apply the metal terminals onto wire. These particular presses are dedicated to spark plug wire terminating. The terminals are dispensed from reels like this, which can hold about 1,000 terminals. They are connected via a carrier strip as they enter the press's applicator. Upon termination, this carrier strip is trimmed off while the terminal is roll crimped onto the wire. Some of the terminals that were originally used have been discontinued by the manufacturer. In order to maintain originality, we needed to have new stamping dies made in order to produce the original style terminals. Before the spark plug wire is inserted into the press's applicator for termination, the inner core of the wire is gently folded over. Unlike hand crimping, which is not advisable for spark plug wires, these presses apply 3 to 5 tons of force to properly crimp the terminals. Proper crimping means that the metal terminals are not deformed and that there is no air gap between the metal terminal and the core of the wire. An air gap measured in microns can cause arcing within the spark plug wire and will reduce the longevity of the wire. Each press's applicator is calibrated to apply the terminals according to the manufacturer's crimp specifications. As a double check to ensure the terminals are crimped properly for a specific gauge wire, we do random pull testing. This digital pull tester will display the amount of force in foot-pounds that it will take to pull the crimped terminal from the wire. In this case, it took over 32 pounds of force to pull off the terminal, and will ensure that the terminals don't fall off even under the high heat of the engine compartment. Here are the spark plug wires already cut to length, terminated, sorted by cylinder number, and ready for the next step. From 1965 to 74, big block Corvettes that had a radio used spark plug wires that were braided. This braiding was applied over the wires to reduce or eliminate electromagnetic interference caused by the engine and picked up by the radio. Because spark plug wire braiding was unique to only these Corvettes, the braiding process will be shown in another video. The next step to spark plug wire manufacturing is the application of the boots. As you can see, we use a large variety of boots of various shapes, colors, and material, either Hypalon or silicone, in order that our spark plug wires are manufactured as original. Many of these original style boots have long been discontinued by the manufacturer. In order to maintain originality with our spark plug wires, we needed to have new injection molds made in order to reproduce these boots. This is a booting machine. It will apply the spark plug wire boots over the terminal and onto the wire without tearing the boots, distorting the terminal, or damaging the wire, and is controlled by a foot pedal. The booting process begins by installing the correct pin for the specific terminal that's on the wire. This pin will anchor the terminal so the boot can be pushed on. Before the boot is inserted onto the pin, a small amount of light oil from the trough is used to lubricate the boot. This is another type of boot being applied over a different terminal. This is the final step in the manufacturing of accurate reproduction spark plug wires. Next, we print the bag labels. Now, all that remains is packaging. After the label is affixed to the outside of the bag, one wire is gathered from each cylinder trough and inserted into the bag with an instruction sheet and a free tube of dielectric grease. The proper use of dielectric grease will be shown in another video. And there you have it, a completed set of spark plug wires, manufactured as original, ready to be installed in your classic or muscle car. We are proud of the fact that all our spark plug wire sets are manufactured at our facility in Bedford Park, Illinois, just outside of Chicago, in the USA.